So over the years, I've worked with some of the deadliest snakes on earth. The inland taipan, one drop of that snake's venom can kill 150,000 mice and well over 100 of me. I've been lucky enough to encounter that species in particular about 10 times out in the outback of Australia. The red-headed crate, one of the most venomous snakes in Indonesia. While trekking out in the jungle of Borneo, we found that species and it was a really intense snake, an intense moment, because you can't get bitten by that snake that far out in the jungle. And on the same day, we found a huge reticulated python. Now these are all such impressive snakes, and that reticulated python nearly got a hold of me a few times. But there's one species that I've worked with over the years out in the wild of Borneo and Bali that carries an energy and holds a presence like no other snake that I've ever worked with. It also happens to be the most dangerous snake that I've ever worked with out there in the wild, the King Cobra. This is a huge snake, the largest venomous snake in the world, and I've been lucky enough to work with it a number of times over the years out in the wild. So what I'm gonna do today is talk you through my favorite encounters with the King Cobra and teach you about this amazing species. So before I go any further, I'd love to give a shout out to the people who made my trip to Tasmania searching for thylacines possible. Beast Lord, the new land. At the beginning of this game, you'll play the role of a Beast Lord. Now, when the climate changes, you lead the beasts to the new continent and start the reconstruction of the kingdom there. If you use the code BL777, it's a special benefit that's applied to Beast Studio, which includes necessary resource supplies for early development in the game, so that everyone will have abundant supplies when they first start playing. The game's really friendly to newbie players. You don't have to worry about not knowing how to play, because players who download from the link in the description, now you can use that code BL777 as well, you can get the lion, the king of the forest, as long as you log into the game the next day. Now the law of the forest has always been that the strongest survive, so acquiring resources is the top priority. Now with resources, you can not only upgrade your beasts, but produce more. It's pretty cool. When you get to level 16, you can unlock different animals like the T-Rex or Terror, the ancestor of birds. You can also find friends from different countries and communicate and compete with players around the world on the same server. And what I found really cool about the game after checking it out is how realistic the graphics and the game actually is. And it's cool because we're heading down to Tasmania to film the believed to be extinct Tasmanian tiger, the thylacine, down there. And in this game, you can actually see rare or nearly extinct animals as well, like the ankole. They're the ones with the 2-meter long horns, and the 4th largest animal on land, the white rhino. But there's over 500 different animals in this game, so I'll leave the link in the description. Remember the code BL777. Now personally, I think this game's really cool because every day you can do a series of quests, challenges, and battles. There's always something to keep you busy. And you know, me being someone who loves animals, to have my own little wildlife land in this game itself and to see all these animals is awesome. But yeah, a huge thanks to Beast Lord for making these trips possible. They're literally helping me raise awareness about animals down in Tasmania and around Australia. So go show them some support. Alright, back to the main video. So arguably my favorite encounter that I've ever had wasn't one of these massive 5-meter snakes. It was quite the opposite. It was a newborn King Cobra. It was probably in an egg a week before this, and we managed to find it out there in the jungle of Borneo. I'll show you a clip. So this right here is a baby King Cobra out here in the jungle. So cool to find one this size. What we're looking for is one a little bit bigger than this, but what this means is there's a mother around this area. The boys have told me that the cobras in this area are pretty territorial, so we might have a chance at finding this one's mum or another one sitting around this area. Now a cobra of this size is still venomous. It still has fangs long enough to penetrate my skin, so I can't get bitten. It'd be the same as getting bitten by a big King Cobra out here in the bush. Obviously at this size, their venom glands are a lot smaller than the big ones, but still they have a venom that can kill 20 adult men. Absolutely crazy snake, and you can see him standing up like that. Half of his body is actually off the floor right now, looking me dead in the eyes. How they get that little hood thing is they flatten out their bones, flatten out the muscles in their body. Imagine this cobra right here, but about 5 meters long, standing half of its body 2.5 meters up into the air. It'd be absolutely crazy to see.
Yeah, better.
Woo!
Okay.
But yeah, just picking this snake up right now. That is absolutely beautiful. You can see him standing up in that little hood position, looking at the camera. I'm always amazed coming out here to Indonesia and finding these snakes. Done it a few times over the past few years, and that right there is just so cool. The King Cobra out here in the jungle of Borneo, highly venomous species, and a species that carries a massive energy about it as well. When you get a big King Cobra looking at you in the face, it's a pretty crazy feeling, to say the least. And hopefully we're gonna find some bigger ones over this little trip. But yeah, look at that. Juvenile King Cobra. All right, we'll let him go, mate. See ya. Yeah, it's so amazing to see a snake of that size out in the wild, knowing that its mother was guarding the nest with those eggs in it probably a week or two before. Now, every year in December, I'll go work with this crew called Bali Reptile Rescue. Now, what they do is they'll get a call up saying, hey, we've got a big snake in our yard, whether that's a reticulated python, a pit viper, or in this case, a big King Cobra. And we'll go remove it from the locals' yards so the snake doesn't get killed by the locals and the locals don't get killed by the snake. Everyone's happy. And on this occasion, we got a call up saying, hey, we've got a big 3-meter snake in our yard. We got there, found it, and it turned out to be a big King Cobra. Check it out. Take a look at this. Big King Cobra. Oh, here we go. Whoa. That is not a bad snake out here in the jungle of Bali. And he's firing. And we've done it again. That is so crazy. Look how high he's standing up. This is the biggest venomous snake in the world. Now, I've been out here to Indonesia that many times finding these snakes, but every time we actually come out here to the wild and track one down, it's so amazing. Look at the terrain that we're walking through. We're walking through the jungle, finding a snake that can grow up over 5 meters in length. We'll just bring him out into the open a bit more. Look how gorgeous this snake is. Come on, mate. Okay. This is pretty crazy. Look at the size of this one. Could be up over 3 meters long. Actually, I'd definitely say it is. That's a bit better. And to just handle this one and feel this snake is so incredible. But yeah, it's not something you can get complacent about doing, that's for sure. Big 3-meter male King Cobra out here in the jungle. Take a look at that. Not a snake that you want to get bitten by. So we've just positioned him around this tree so he can't get a longer enough lunge at me if he wants to have a go. And you know, the funny thing about these snakes is you see them in a lot of the time on those snake charmer documentaries where they're playing them instruments and people think that the music is actually controlling them, but it's not at all. These snakes are actually deaf, they can't hear it, but they fixate on movement. So if I'm moving my hand back and forth right now, he doesn't even know that my cameraman is behind him. He's so focused and angry and trying to kill me that he fully blanks out whatever's behind him. So that's why you can actually touch them on the back of the head and kiss them on the back of the head. And he's trying to kiss me on the front of the head as well right now, which would not be a good idea. Wow. Yeah, maybe try to get the sound of him breathing. Okay. And you can hear him breathing in and out. So crazy. Almost sounds like a big dragon breathing. What an incredible snake. Yeah, every time I come over here and film these animals, I have that much respect for them. Whoa, settle down, buddy. Crazy. And I was saying on the walk down here, it's so crazy in a place like this that you have 5-meter king cobras just living out here in the jungle. Now these snakes, how they actually get that big is by eating other snakes. They're cannibalistic. They'll even eat other king cobras. A few years ago when we were over here, we actually filmed a really big king cobra out in the jungle eating a smaller spitting cobra. And no doubt this snake living out here would have eaten plenty of other species in his day. Okay, very calm.
Good snake, like a trained one.
At least he was striking that way. Maybe you should have been more careful. Crazy snake. The biggest venomous snake in the world. So much respect for this animal right here. And yeah, he is so fixated on my guide in front of him that he's not even looking at me right now. Yeah, but there we go. As soon as he sees you in the corner of his eye, it's all over. Oh my God, that's crazy. Good stuff. Crazy, man. It's incredible how much this snake has calmed down since we first found it. You know, they are amazing animals, and once they sense that energy, and also once the lactic acid builds up, they slow right down and calm right down into these beautiful creatures. And even on this trip over here in Bali, just running into different people, lots of them say how they fear snakes and they're afraid of them, but I think that we should respect them and know that this species does have the capability to kill someone. But if we stay out of their way and don't harm these snakes, it's very easy not to get bitten by these snakes out here in the wild. But yeah, just looking at this beautiful king right now, I hope you can see the absolute beauty in this moment and this animal. Now, since we go over every year in December to work with the reptile rescue, 12 months before that, we were doing the exact same thing. But in this case, the boys had already caught the snake, and they said, before we actually release it back out to the wild, do you want to work with it in a controlled location and teach people about the animal? So of course, that's exactly what we did. And we even ended up kissing this wild snake on the back of the head out there in Indonesia.
When he first took it out of the box, you were doing the other one. Outrageous.
Wow, very close.
Even the noises.
Oh yeah, the noises are very.
So this is the second King Cobra that we've got. Bit smaller than the other one, but this one is so much more aggressive. This is the snake that I think I'm gonna try to kiss on the back of the head. Now these snakes are fully wild, they've got fangs, they've got venom. If you got bitten here in Bali, you would be in so much trouble. but I'm gonna give it a go, see what happens.
You think it's okay? Wait for Ray. Yep. Good one.
So although I am kissing this cobra and touching it on the back of the head, I do have professionals with me who are putting the snake into a trance-like state in front of me. They're waving something and that snake will focus on it. And that's the only reason we can do this with these king cobras. So you'll see documentaries and videos of snake charmers who actually defang and drug these snakes. This is a wild snake that was caught a week ago. Not defanged, not drugged or anything. That's gonna get eventually released back out into the wild. And if you did get bitten, you would be in serious trouble over here in Bali. But yeah, pretty amazing experience. What a way to end the year. It's pretty funny because where we filmed that was the hotel that we were staying at out in Bali. So people were checking in to their hotel and I was kissing a king cobra on the back of the head. It was pretty crazy. Really cool experience though. Now, without a doubt, the most intense experience that I've ever had with a snake, maybe even an animal out there in the wild, was when we were working with a big king cobra over in the jungle of Borneo. So there'd be about 6 or 7 of us spread out through the jungle looking for whatever animals we could find. Orangutans, big pythons. And our guide yells out saying that he just found a big snake. So we run over and a big snake is an under-exaggeration. This thing was massive. I reckon it was around 5 meters long. A big king cobra out there in the wild of Borneo. And we didn't film it at first because it was just going absolutely crazy. We were scared about getting bitten, and getting bitten by a snake out there in the wild like a king cobra pretty much means certain death. But the snake calmed down and so did we, and we were able to have one of the most amazing and intense experiences with an animal out there in the wild. Check it out. And he's not a small 5 meter long snake, he's very thick. Bigger than a lot of the big pythons that are out here. So I'll stretch him out. Just being very gentle with this animal. Look, his tail comes all the way out here. That is close to 5 meters. Whoa. Direct. Take a look at that. As long as he's striking that way, it's okay. Now, I truly believe that you can have a deeper connection than what meets the eye with an animal like this. Me with snakes mostly, but that still doesn't mean that this snake isn't gonna bite me. You gotta be careful. And I don't think anyone should put themselves in dangerous situations, but this is what I live for right here. Sharing this experience with this big king cobra out here in the jungle of Borneo, because they're the world's biggest venomous snake. They carry a huge presence about them, and a 5 meter king cobra like this, looking at me dead in the eyes, is something pretty crazy and something that I'm so grateful to experience in this life. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to pick it up at the moment, this big snake. And what I want to show you is the reason why people can kiss these snakes on the back of the head and touch them is because they go into a trance-like state when they're fixated on something right in front of it. So he's fixated on my guide at the moment, and what I'm going to do is slowly pick it up, being very careful. Oh, take a look at that. You're all right, buddy. Big king cobra out here in the jungle of Borneo. Look at that. That is a magnificent snake, and a snake big enough to take down an elephant with the amount of venom that it carries in its venom glands, and a snake big enough to take down 20 of me. You can't get bitten by this snake out here. highly venomous species. But a beautiful animal, an absolutely amazing animal. And this experience right here is what I wanted to have, coming to the wild lands of Borneo, out here in the jungle, looking for these snakes, looking for orangutans, looking for all these animals. And I'm gonna remember this moment right here, but gotta be very careful. All right, buddy. A 5-meter King Cobra, the biggest venomous snake in the world, and a magnificent one at that. Can't even fit my hands around it, this snake's so big. I'm gonna put him back down. Make sure the snake's in focus. I think because I only get to work with these snakes once or twice a year, it makes me appreciate them so much when I actually go out and find them in the wild. I think they're one of the most amazing and impressive animals that people should go see because, yeah, some of my favorite encounters out in the wild have been with these snakes. So I'm so happy that I can teach people about them and show everyone how amazing they are. And I hope that's exactly what this video did. So thank you so much for watching. I'll be posting videos every week. I've got some really cool experiences coming up down in Tasmania, expeditions searching for thylacines and different animals that live down there. And even after that, we traveled to South Australia searching for great white sharks. That's going to be a really epic video. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you legends next week in the next adventure.